I am 45 years old and I have learned how to shave years off of my face just by the techniques of my makeup. I'm going to share this with you today. You don't have to go under the knife. You don't have to go through expensive procedures to get a face that looks very youthful and vibrant. Now, before we get into the makeup part, if your skin is not in order, it doesn't matter how luxurious foundation is, how amazing your makeup techniques are. If your skin underneath is not smooth and taken care of, it doesn't matter what makeup you put on top. You're not going to get the results that you want. So this is the most important step, you all. The number one complaint I see from people over 40 if they feel like their skin looks aging or isn't looking smooth and flawless is because they're not exfoliating enough. I like to do a manual exfoliant twice a week, something gentle like a rice polish. I love the Tatcha brand. There's also Dermalogica. Any sort of very finely milled microfoliant that you can do a couple times a week just to kind of slough off the dead skin and things like that. But also I incorporate liquid exfoliants, and those are things like lactic acid, glycolic acid, BHA. There's so many toners and even serums that exist that have those type of acids in there. You all do the research and figure out what acid is best for you. If you have sensitive skin, I think lactic acid is a great one because it's not too harsh. It's easy on the skin. So I always use a lactic acid serum in my skincare routine. I use it at night before I put on my moisturizer, or I'll use a toner instead. After I wash my skin, I'll put the toner on, then put my serums and moisturizers on top. I like to use a liquid exfoliant 3 to 4 times a week. So I'll rotate it in. I won't do it the same days that I do my powder exfoliant. I'll do this twice a week, and then the other days I'll do a liquid one. The next skincare concern is hydration. If your skin is not hydrated, even if you have oily skin, you still have to hydrate your skin. That's going to give you that really smooth base to put your makeup on top of. I like using things like hyaluronic acid, so a great hyaluronic serum, hyaluronic toners. Look for something that has that in there because that'll kind of plump up the skin. It'll draw water to the surface of the skin. It'll make it look fuller, more hydrated, just give you a great base for your skin. And then the other concern is age spots. So as I've gotten older, I don't know if you all can see, I start getting age spots in here. I've been fading them slowly. I swear for years, you all, of using vitamin C. I use vitamin C every single day. There's so many benefits for it. So I use a serum. I have a couple that I love. I'll list everything below if you all want, but vitamin C is great for protecting your skin from damage outside. It's great for fading pigmentation. There's so many benefits for that. So I use it every single morning. I wash my face, I do a toner, I put my vitamin C serum on, and then moisturize. That's it. And then if y'all have age spots that you want to fade as well on top of using the vitamin C, there's a couple things you can use like hydroquinone. It's a little bit stronger, so be careful with that. If you have sensitive skin, ask a dermatologist. But you can also use niacinamide. I have been swearing about niacinamide for 15 years here on YouTube. They have some drops, like Paula Choice has some that you can put in your moisturizer, or just find a moisturizer that has niacinamide in it. There's so many benefits to that, but it helps with fading pigmentation. For me, it helps keep my pores clean, so I break out less when I use niacinamide. So I always make sure to always have niacinamide in part of my skincare routine. And then the last thing that will help us age a little bit more slowly is making sure our skin is firm. So there's a lot of devices we can use. I won't talk about it in this video. I'll do a dedicated one for that. But if you find skincare that has peptides in it, peptides are great for helping firm up the skin. It's just an amazing ingredient that I would look for in your skincare if you can. There's some great moisturizers that have peptide in there, like the Haru Haru one is really inexpensive. You can get it on Amazon, and that will just help firm up the skin, add extra moisture, so many benefits to that. So those are our main concerns, you all. But if I could say one thing from this video, oh, and I forgot the most important step, you all, tretinoin or retinol, cell turnover, you guys. If I could say one thing that has completely shaved 10 years off of my face for my skincare routine, it has been this. I get prescription grade tretinoin. I get it from my dermatologist. I've been on this since I was about 30 years old. I'm 45 now, so I've had 15 years of this. And I'm telling you, my skin now at 45 looks better than when it was at 30 when I first started. So if you are not on tretinoin or some sort of retinol, talk to your dermatologist, try it out. I'm telling you guys, it is huge for just making that skin smooth, helping my fine lines and wrinkles from forming, keeping my pores clean, so many benefits to that. So do your research on all of that, you all, but definitely skincare is so important. And before you apply your makeup, make sure that it's nice and exfoliated, it's very well hydrated, put your moisturizer on, and then 5 minutes later, after it kind of soaks in and sets a little bit, then do your makeup. I'm telling you, the results will be beautiful. Now that your skin is prepped and ready to go, the second step is to keep your foundation light, luminous, and skin-like. One thing I always love to do, and I talk about this all the time, is to have a silicone-based primer on top of the skin. If you feel like your foundation looks fine without a primer, I would say skip it, because the more products you use and layer on your skin is more opportunities for it to separate. But for me, I like using a silicone-based primer. Let me show you all one side versus the other. It it gets rid of the shine on my skin and it creates a barrier and it just makes it look smoother. I know it's subtle and it's hard to tell on camera. If you look at this side, it just looks a bit more smooth. My pores aren't standing out as much. My texture is better. This creates almost like a protective layer between your skin and the foundation on top, making it look a bit more smooth and flawless, which is really helpful as we get older because then it starts filling in our fine lines and pores and all of the things that we want to kind of smooth over. So I just take the Anisa Pinnacle foundation brush, I put a couple pumps on, just really buff it into the skin. And look how smooth that canvas is already. Now, when it comes to applying foundation, the trick, you all, is to find a thin viscosity formula. It doesn't matter the finish, whether it's oily, matte, whether it's a dewy foundation, satin, or matte. We are looking at viscosity. I talk about this a lot in this channel because it's really important and no one talks about it. Viscosity is how thin your foundation is. So my test I always do when I'm buying a foundation is I put a pump on my hand and I tilt it up like that. If it's dripping down, that's a thin viscosity formula. Those work better for over 40 skin because it's easier. I'm gonna take that same brush. It's easier to really buff it into the skin. As soon as you start using thick viscosity formulas, when you have over 40 skin, it's going to look thick and cakey because it's a thicker formula. So no matter the finish, get a thin viscosity formula. So I have some options for you all. The one I just applied was the NARS Sheer Glow. This is a dewy finish foundation. This is my top pick for dry skin. If you have oily skin, I really like Estee Lauder Double Wear because that also is a moderately thin viscosity. There we go. Okay. There's the viscosity of the Estee Lauder Wear. Do you see how it's dripping down? But this is a matte finish formula. That's why this is such an iconic one. It's hard to find matte formulas that have a thin viscosity. So this works amazing for over 40 skin. I'm gonna put a little bit on this side just so you guys can see it. Do you see how it's thin? It's not caking up. It's not settling into my fine lines. It's just really blending and buffing into the skin. And the brush that you use, I swear that I buy this Anisa Pinnacle foundation brush, you guys, because it really just works it into the skin and gives me such a flawless look. And then if you have combination skin and you want a demi matte or natural type of finish, choose the right formula for your skin type. And if it's liquid, always try to get a thin viscosity formula. The reason I say that brushes are so important for applying your foundation, you guys, it can make or break how your foundation is going to apply. You could have the most expensive, luxurious, beautiful foundation on the planet. If you don't pair it up with the right brush, you're not going to get the finish that you want. So I always love using the Anisa Pinnacle foundation brush. You guys know I talk about it all the time. I've been using it for years. I purchased many of them with my own money. They are our sponsor for today's video, you guys. If you want some high quality, amazing brushes that will last for years and years and years, I highly recommend these. You guys know I don't just sponsor with anyone. You guys have seen me use this one. The Pinnacle foundation brush is my go-to. I literally use it every single time I apply my foundation. You guys, look, you guys, in my little thing here, I have several of them. I have 3 here. I have 3 at home. I have 1 in my work bag. I have probably 7 of these brushes now that I've collected over the years because I use it that often. So that's my favorite brush from the line. Also, my go-to is the Angle Concealer brush. That's what I use every time I put my concealer on because that shape fits perfectly under the eyes. I get in the marionette lines around my nose. It is a fantastic concealer brush. It's a must-have in anyone's collection. I also really like their blush brushes. They have newer blush brushes that are kind of the similar shape that are beautiful for just diffusing the blush, giving a soft application of color. These are synthetic brushes, so they are vegan. They're high quality. They last you for many years. And the owner's name is Anisa. I've known her for more than 10 years, you guys. She is genuine. This is an independent women-owned business. So I will always support this brand. You guys, any brush you get from Anisa Beauty is going to be phenomenal quality. So I'll put all the information in the description box if you guys want to go check them out. If you're in need of some brushes right now, please check out this brand. I promise you, on my word, you will not be disappointed with any brush that you get from them. Now, the next step is our concealer, and this is where we're going to lift and brighten strategically. We want to use a lighter color concealer to almost transform the face and lift it. So I'll show you the placements to put it. Again, you want to choose a concealer that has a thin viscosity. I really like the Natasha Denona High Glam because it's very thin. Let me show you on the back of my hand. Do you see how thin that formula is? It glides really well because it's not too thick. That's what we want. You want it to be 1 shade, maybe 2 shades lighter than your natural skin color. And I like to highlight here on top of the cheekbone, and I'm going to come out to the side. That's going to lift the face a little bit. So I put a little streak here. And then because I have dark circles, I'm going to brighten under here just a little bit. And I know the trend now is, oh, just put a dot here. For us over 40, I need a little bit more coverage there. So I do that. I put just a a little swatch on the center of my forehead, down my nose. And then do you see how I'm starting to get marionette lines here? I'm also going to strategically highlight that area because I want to brighten it and make it not look so dark so it'll be less prominent. And then I take my Anissa Angled Concealer brush. It's my absolute favorite for applying concealer. And I want to show you guys, do you see how I'm blending out the marionette lines? So we're going to try to brighten that area a little bit. And then I'm going to then brighten up here on my face. I want to show you guys what happens when you start to blend this out. Put a little bit on the center of my forehead. You can always keep a little sponge handy if you want to just tap it out a little bit more. Look how that lifted my upper face a little bit. It highlighted the center of my face, and my marionette lines right here are starting to brighten and be a little bit less prominent. Next up, we are going to use blush to lift the face, add glow and luminosity to the skin. So as we get older, we want to choose a blush that is brighter than what we used to wear in our 20s and 30s, because as we get older, we lose the natural pigmentation in our cheeks. So I always go for a bright coral like this. Do you see how bright that is? If you all have cool tone skin, you're going to get something in the pink shade. So I like to choose something in the same undertone as my skin. I have a whole blush video on my YouTube channel. I'll link it right here if you guys are interested. So whether it's a cool tone pink or a coral color that's more warm, you want something a little bit brighter than what you think you need, because it's really going to liven up the face. Okay, this is the Valentino blush number 6. You guys know it's my favorite formula. Let me show you the placement. We're going to stay up here high, always high. We don't want to come in past the halfway point. So pretend there's a line going from my temple to my lip. I want to stop there. I don't want to come in any farther than, say, the center of my pupil as well, because then it's going to start to drag my face down. So high up here. And do you see how that's brightening up my face? It's lifting my cheekbones higher. It's like a facelift, you all, without having to go under the knife. And see how it's a bit brighter? I need that. If I do a really pale kind of peachy color and it doesn't show up on my skin, it doesn't give me that youthful glow that I'm aiming for. Look at that, so gorgeous. Now, if you have dry skin and you want to add glow to the skin, which I think is so flattering for over 40, then you can go in with a glossy formula. I really like the House Labs one because it's a glossy type blush. This is the color Pomelo, because you guys know I love the peachy tones. Do you see how that has a gloss to it? If you can't find that, you guys can honestly use a lipstick that is a shiny type of lipstick, and that will work as well. So what I like to do is just take a sponge. You can use your finger as a brush too, but I like the sponge because it gives me a bit more control. And I'm just going to put this on top of the blush, and this is more for texture. The reason I'm not just doing this, I'm doing a powder underneath because I really want that color to last. I'm needing it to be bright. But do you see how that's adding luminosity, and it's making my skin look so youthful, so fresh, but it's not going to look greasy because I'm keeping the shine just out here on the tops of the cheekbones. So it's not going to emphasize my pores, fine lines, anything like that. I literally just keep it on this tiny little section right here on that cheekbone where I don't have fine lines or pores. Now the next thing we're going to do to highlight and add glow to the face, and this is only if you have dry to combination skin. If you have oily skin, you don't need to add highlighter at all, you guys. Just because a makeup product exists, don't feel like you have to buy it and use it. Okay, but I have dry to combination skin. We are going to opt for liquid highlighters versus powder ones. Here's why. Here's a beautiful powder. I really do love this. It's the Rare Beauty one, but look at that shimmer in there. As we get older, shimmer is going to emphasize texture, whereas we want to do glow. So that's why I like the e.l.f. Halo Glow, because it's not shimmer, it's shiny, if that makes sense. Do you see how there's no pearl particles in there? It's just giving me a luminosity. So that's my go-to highlighter that I've been using nonstop since I've been in my 40s. I put just a little bit on my hand there, and I take that sponge. We're gonna take the clean side of it. I'm getting a lot of use out of the sponge today. Pick up some of there, and again, right here on top of the cheekbones out to here. We don't wanna come in where we have fine lines and pores, but look at that luminosity it's adding to the skin. It's just changing the texture of my skin to be more glowy and more youthful. So gorgeous. Now comes the big one, is the eyes. We're gonna use eyeshadow to define the eyes, not make them look heavy. And the number one thing that makes anyone look older is using harsh black or dark blue eyeliner. I like to recommend after we turn 40, switching to colors like a plum. Something like this is really pretty. It's still gonna give you that darkness, but it's not straight up black, or a dark brown. These are different brands. I'll put this in the description box, you all. Do you see that brown color? color, still dark, still give me what I need. You can also do something like this is a Victoria Beckham one, a dark green or even a gray. So that's kind of the range that we're doing. The only exception is if you have dark features. So say you have dark hair, caramel to deep skin, then I would say definitely you need to use black so that pigmentation shows up on your skin. But if you have fair features, either light hair, fair skin, light eyes, I would say don't do black. It is going to age you. Try to use something a little bit softer like a dark brown or a gray instead. So here's my go-to technique that is very easy for every day. It's just taking a cream shadow. This is the Bobbi Brown one in Bark. It's the dark brown. I'm going to take a small brush like this, pick up some of that color, and I want to smudge this just along the upper lash line. And I'm going to come out, I'm going to create kind of a V shape like this, something very soft. Do you see how it's naturally defining the lash line, but it's not looking harsh because I'm using a dark brown instead. Now that that's set a little bit, we're going to smoke over it with a medium tone color. So I did the dark brown, so now I'm going to go in with a medium caramel brown instead. So 2 shades lighter than the cream eyeshadow that you put down as our goal. And you're going to take a really tiny brush like this. Let me show you all. Tiny brush like this just to smudge out and pick up that shadow. And then we're just going to smudge this on top. I'm staying close to the lash line. And then I'm starting to smudge it upwards. What this is going to do is make everything look very soft and diffused, but still define that lash line to make my eyelashes look thicker. Do you see how it diffused it a little bit? And that's super easy. You don't even have to do a complete eyeshadow look. You literally can do a cream shadow, smudge a little shadow on top, and there you go. Very fast. Next way that we're gonna look younger is we're always gonna apply a gloss and do a lighter lip shade. Now, does that mean if you're over 40, you can't wear darker shades? You can. However, if you tend to wear medium tone to a little bit lighter, and especially if you add a gloss on top, it's gonna make the lips look fuller. The other trick is to really use a lip liner. As we get older, the definition around our lip line, it starts to fade and get lighter. So adding that definition is really gonna define the lips, make them look fuller, and help your lipstick from bleeding out into your fine lines. So I'm going to use this Maybelline lip liner, you guys. It's a really good one. It's called, the color is Gone Grayish. Let me show you. It's a flattering color for everyone. That's absolutely beautiful. You guys know I also like the Makeup Wherever Walnut. If you have deeper skin, I would say something like Limitless Brown is a great kind of nude color. It's a good, nice brown color, but it's really going to define the lips. So I'm going to use the Maybelline one, just like that. And it's up to you guys if you want to add a lip color or not. You all know my favorite lip color of all time is the YSL number 44. It is the perfect baby pink. It's just absolutely beautiful. So I'm going to put a little layer of that down. It's okay that the lip liner is a little bit darker because I'm going to show you. We kind of want that ombre effect almost. And the lip gloss is going to pull this together. So if you guys don't want to wear a lip gloss, you can do a shiny lipstick like this as well. I know this looks kind of great on camera. Give me a second. I'm going to apply the Fenty Lip Gloss Bomb. This is in cake shape, but also the Champ Stamp is a really great one. So I'm going to kind of go over the lip liner with this and put that gloss on. And do you guys see how much fuller my lips look? So much fuller just by adding gloss. I don't care what the trends are. I don't pay attention to trends much after I've turned 40, you guys, because what works for me is just what works for me. So gloss I will always wear because I think it's so flattering for the lips. It hides fine lines. It makes your lips look fuller, nice and youthful. So I'm a huge lip gloss fan. I will always wear lip gloss. If you aren't subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button and I'll see you next week for another makeup video.